All right, welcome back. Let's get right into the news. Okay, listen, here's the deal. Do I have a webcam? Yeah, I do. Okay, there it is. All right. Hi, everyone. Hello. Let's talk about this a little bit. Let me open up the tweet here. Oh, this is actually, I guess, sort of, now it's kind of a part of the drama. I'm going to open up this here, too. I want to go point by point through this. Oh my God, almost 1,000 signatures. What? What does that mean? We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so let me give you guys a complete and total recap of what happened. This is, today is Thursday. On Tuesday, this is 2 days ago now, Blizzard, there was a bunch of server downtime, bunch of server crashes, world crashes. They were doing maintenance on all of the classic WoW servers. What it seems like they've done is they have decided to put all of the classic era and classic hardcore server shit on the new SOD Phase 4 / Cataclysm client. So now classic era, hardcore, SOD Phase 4, and Cata are on the same client, like the same client base. And as a consequence of that, there are now lots of SOD Phase 4 and Cataclysm user interface elements, bugs, weird little quirks, issues that have manifested, that have popped up over the last 2 days on the vanilla WoW classic era servers. Okay, also on the hardcore servers, but we're currently logged into the classic era server right now. So it seems like these changes were not intentional. It seems like these changes were sort of consequential or incidental as a consequence of putting the classic era and hardcore stuff on the SOD Phase 4 and Cata client, that it wasn't actually planned. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of really, really weird stuff that like just does not make sense for classic era. It's like, why would they do this? And so we're going to go through these real quick. I'm just going to bullet point read these off, and then we're going to double back and break them down one by one. We'll start from the bottom here. Druids can now train polearms. This is currently live on the classic era servers and also the hardcore servers. So this is a Cataclysm thing that is now just sort of like randomly, I'm not really sure why, appearing on the classic era and hardcore servers. I think because it's kind of a bug. It's a bug, right? It's a consequence of putting the classic era stuff on the hardcore or on the Cata client. Another one, Songflower Serenade and Dire Maul tribute buffs can no longer be dispelled by enemy players. This is a change that Blizzard has implemented on the SOD Phase 4 PTR that is being added into the game for SOD Phase 4. And as I've said, SOD Phase 4 and Cata are the same client, and now Classic Era is also on that client. So this is like a result of SOD Phase 4. Another bullet point here. Alliance players now have access to the Might of Stormwind, which is a buff to a version of, it's a version of War Chief's Blessing. It's an Alliance version of War Chief's Blessing. This new buff is gained for turning in a new quest, End of the Dark Horde, in Stormwind, and is mutually exclusive with War Chief's Blessing. So now Alliance in Stormwind can get their own version of War Chief's Blessing buff, which is something that Blizzard is adding to SOD Phase 4 and has been on the SOD Phase 4 PTR for about a month and a half now, okay? So this is also a consequence of SOD Phase 4. Another bullet point here, the guild user interface has been updated to provide more ease of guild management. Okay, so really curious, interesting phenomenon about this. This new updated guild interface was added to the classic WoW servers when Cataclysm came out. So this is, people are calling this the Cataclysm interface. Okay. SOD Phase 1, 2, and 3 did not have this interface. On the SOD Phase 4, we got this interface, and now going into SOD Phase 4 3 hours from now, we're going to have this interface in SOD Phase 4. So this interface being added, I guess I'm trying to paint the picture that the only reason these changes have happened on Classic Era and the hardcore servers is because they have consolidated the client base. Does this make sense? Are you guys following so far? And so, like, very clearly, these things were not intentional. It's not like Blizzard sat around a table and said, how can we make Classic Era better? I know what we can do. We can give Druids polearms. Oh, that's a great idea. Put that on the whiteboard. You know what else we can do? We could give the Classic Era players the Cataclysm Guild user interface. That's gonna... No, this is that's not how this went down. Most certainly, this is sort of like a bug consequence of consolidating the client base. Okay. Now, the problem is here, a lot of these changes classic players are really not happy with. We're going to break down the implication or the consequences of these changes here one by one here in a minute. I think probably out of all four of these bullet points we've talked about, the single thing that bothers me the most, this is the single thing that is most annoying for me, is this. I want everyone to look at my guild chat bottom left. Okay, look right there. Look right there. Okay, I'm going to type hello. There's about a 1 second delay between hitting enter and my message actually showing up in guild chat. So watch. And then 1 second later it pops up. This is really, really, I'm going to do it again, really annoying. This is so incredibly frustrating. And you might say, it's not a big deal. Classic WoW, vanilla WoW is a social game. Like, that's the reason why people play this game. People like to type, people like to socialize, people like to RP, people, like, in our guild, we're RPing, people are communicating. It's the human element, the social human element of this game that is, in my opinion, the really big selling point. People like that about this game, and this version of the game uniquely more so than any other version of the game. Vanilla WoW caters to that, in my opinion, better than any other version. And so having a 1 second delay on everything you type in guild chat, try turning off add-ons. It's not an add-on thing. Trust me, it's not an add-on thing. And so this is very, very frustrating, right? And this is something that, like, in all of the conversations about these changes here, people are talking about, I don't really see anyone talking about this. For me, this is the most frustrating thing. 1 second lag on everything you post in guild chat. And I think the reason why is most of the people talking about this blue post here, they don't actually play Classic Era. I play a lot of Classic Era, and this is really, really annoying. Like, in my opinion, this is more annoying than anything else here. Now, let's actually break these down bullet point by bullet point and talk about, I'll give you my opinion, okay? And you're welcome to disagree. Let me give you my opinion on this, on every single individual bullet point. Now, I've already said first off, I have the belief that none of these changes were intentional. I think they were all consequential of updating and consolidating the client base onto the new SOD Phase 4 and Cataclysm client. The first thing that really, really bothers me is that rather than just fixing the bugs, and these are very clearly unintended. So rather than fixing these unintended issues, they 2 days later drop a blue post just saying, hey, boom, 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 here's what it is now. There's no discussion, there's no developer notes, there's no developer insight, there's no explanation. They tried to play all of this off as if it was intentional. Very clearly, this was not intentional. Very clearly, this is consequential of them consolidating the client base. They did not intend to do this, right? But they're trying to act as if they did. They're trying to say, this is the exact, you guys have heard the quote, it's not a bug, it's a feature. They're trying to tell the player base, these are not bugs, these are features. When it is so obviously not true, right? They did not plan on doing this. But here we are. That's my little intro. I want to talk about point by point. What is the impact, negative impact? What are the consequences of each four of these individual points, okay? So druids can now train polearms. Chat, is this that big of a deal? No, not really. Not really, it's not that big of a deal. There aren't really that many boomkins that a druid would want to wear. Generally, the only type of druid that would want to wear a polearm is a feral druid. And feral druids always are wearing what? Manual crowd pummelers, if they're being sweaty at least. There aren't even really that many good polearms in the game at all, period. There's like a couple. It's not that big of a deal, though. Moster, thank you very much. And so this is like, kind of like, whatever. Let's move on to the next one. Songflower Serenade and Dire Maul tribute buffs can no longer be dispelled by enemy players. I think the only people that would be bothered by this are people that really like to purge and like grief, and try to harass other people's world buffs. Now we have Chrono Boon. Chrono Boon like kind of solved this problem, not entirely, but to a pretty high degree. Chrono Boon solved that problem. This is another thing I don't really care a whole lot. I don't think many people care about purging. And I know the people that do care about purging, I know they really care. They're like the griefer bad boy archetype. I understand that. But this doesn't impact 99.9% of people. It's the 0.01% of people that care about purging and griefing. It's not that giant. Isn't it for Gar? There is one boss in the game who can purge your world buffs, and it is Gar. Gar purging world buffs, frankly, is just like annoying and cringe. I'm gonna keep it real. You have that like 2 minute prep phase before Gar where it's like, okay, everybody apply trash buffs. I'm gonna apply all the blessings. I'm gonna apply unending breath. I'm gonna apply water breathing. I'm gonna apply I'm gonna apply a bunch of shitty elixirs, shitty level 15 elixirs. I'm gonna do everything. So if the defense of this is Gar, well, what about Gar? That also is like kind of, I just don't really care a whole lot. This is kind of whatever also. And to be clear, the Druid Polearm thing, this is a Cataclysm change, and this is the Songflower Serenade and Dharmal Tribute Purge thing. This is a Sod Phase 4 change. So that's where these things come from. Next up, Alliance players now have access to the Might of Stormwind buff. It's a version of Warchief's Blessing for the Alliance. This is something that has been added on the Sod Phase 4 PTR for the last couple weeks, and is going to be, like, they are adding this for Sod Phase 4. Alliance getting this in Classic Era, this is, I think, probably the people that would be upset. Okay, I'm thinking, who's happy about this? Who's mad about this? Who's mad about this? Horde players, right? Paladins are very, very good. Paladins have a very, very expansive toolkit. They have a lot of unique traits, skills, buffs that Horde does not have. And this was one way that the Horde kind of balanced out against the Alliance, okay? If it was up to me, if we're talking making changes, fuck what the community wants, I'm making changes. You know what I would have done? I would have made it so Alliance can't even get this. Because I personally think the process that Alliance has to go through, I need to get mind controlled, I gotta go to Crossroads, and then I get what... That is so fucking cringe. That is so lame. I always hated that. So what I would have done is just say, hey, you know what? Warchief's Blessing is Horde only. Literally, it is Horde only. Alliance players cannot get it. Too bad. That's what I would have done. I understand maybe that would have made some people mad, but I think that is more in the spirit of vanilla WoW than this. Okay, that's that bullet point. This bullet point is a consequence of the Sod Phase 4 PTR. And then the final one here, the guild user interface has been updated to provide more ease of guild management. This is personal preference. I really, really, really dislike the Cataclysm guild interface. I really don't like it. I find it, and I don't think that this is a consequence of me just not being familiar with it. I don't think that's the case, because I've played a lot of retail. I don't know, like I played Cata. I just think it's worse. That's my take. And this is like an opinion thing. My opinion is this is worse, and it's more tedious, and it's more annoying to use. Some people say, I like it more. It's not a big deal, stay safe. Okay, this is an opinion thing. Argue about that. The one thing that is inarguable, okay, talking about the Cataclysm guild interface now being in Classic Era, the one thing you cannot argue with me on is this. It's this. There is a 1-second delay with every single message you post in guild chat, okay? As a result of having this new guild interface, there is now every single thing I post in my guild chat, there is a 1-second delay. That is so bad. Even if you like this interface, you need to acknowledge this delay on guild chat typing is so bad, annoying, clunky. it's just like typing in guild chat feels like shit now. It's it's bad. It's bad. You cannot deny that. So that's my big problem. Really, there is a problem that supersedes each of these individual comments, though, okay, or individual changes, and that is this problem here. I want to scroll down. We're going to talk about this here in a minute. This is a blue post, or the official post from Warcraft. Where is this? Okay. I want to try. Hold up. What is the exact quote? I'm just going to do a Control F here. Last day. Okay, hold up here. Okay, let me find this here. Okay, so this is in 2021 when Classic Vanilla was wrapping up and we were about to segue into Classic TBC. The year is 2021. Blizzard boots up the Classic Era servers and says, hey, listen, we're going to maintain the Classic Era servers, and you can pay $20 to copy your character, or rather to clone your character, over to the Classic Era servers. They're offering Classic Era clones, character clones, for $20. A lot of people spent money to copy, or rather to clone their character over to Classic Era. Let's look at this exact verbiage. As mentioned during the BlizzCon Deep Dive panel for Burning Crusade Classic, with the pre-expansion patch, players will be provided the option to play their character on the new Classic Era realm just as it was on the last day, the patch, or continue into Burning Crusade. Okay? So, Blizzard made a very clear and explicit promise that these servers are going to remain the way that they are, right? In fact, they were selling the clone. It was $20. So people spent money. Some people, they cloned 5 characters. People spent a lot of money to clone their character over on these Classic Era servers under the very explicit promise from Blizzard that nothing was going to change, right? Guess what? Things have changed. A lot of things have changed. And not only have things changed, but the community has not been, like, none of this stuff was floated by the community. This stuff was not talked about preemptively. Insight was not gathered, or there wasn't a poll. Hey, how do you guys feel about changes like these things? They just did it. In fact, even after having done it, we still don't know why they did it. They just dropped this blue post, and there's no dev commentary. There's no explanation. It's just like, this is what it is now. And like I said, it's particularly egregious because people spent money under the very clear promise that these servers would not be changed at all. This, I think, is probably the single biggest problem. If Blizzard wants to have changes, maybe they can make some changes if they talk to the community beforehand, right? If there's a little bit of a dialogue or a feedback, or if they say, hey guys, we're looking at the Classic Era servers, we have some ideas on how to, sort of like, round off some of the rough points here, sand off some of the rough points, but we want to have you guys vote on this. And if 80% of you guys vote to have druids wearing polearms, then we're going to have druids wearing polearms. But if a hypermajority don't agree to that, then we're not going to do that. Okay? They just did it, and they did it unintentionally. It's very clear they didn't even plan to make these changes. And then after accidentally making these changes, then they drop a blue post acting as if they intended to do it all along, which is very, very clearly not the case. And so a lot of Classic players are upset about this, and there is a big petition here. We demand Activision Blizzard restores Classic Era to its original state with no changes. Okay, so this is made by Cargos the other day. Yesterday, Cargos made this. And you can read through this. It makes a lot of the points that I have made, and he's trying to gather signatures. If you vote on that right there, it's not voting. You just have to sign it. You can punch in your name. Could be a fake name, email address, whatever. And so if you guys sign this, I don't know, maybe something happens. I don't know. But a lot of in fact, let me go take a look at, I'm going to take a look at the Classic Reddit. I want to open up the BattleNet forums too. I want to see what people are kind of saying all over this. Classic forums. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, WoW Classic. You know what? Let's do... Do you think it would be in WoW Classic general discussion? Okay. Era changes. I wonder if I can do top thread of the last 24 hours. There you go. Era is no longer era. The thread got locked. Wow. Dude. This guy made it. This guy made a thread. This is the top thread of the last 24 hours. This guy says era is no longer era, and Blizzard locked the thread. You can't even respond to it. You can't even respond to this. Blizzard is shutting down the discussion. Okay. MOS is a good change. Guild interface isn't. And locked down. This guy said the new guild interface isn't a good change. And the thread has been locked. Bro. This is really bad. This is not a good look. Okay. Okay, let me take a look at this here. Herbie. While I really dislike the changes to era, I think I'm more disappointed that there's been zero explanation from a blue. There has been zero explanation. I mean, at least tell people if it's intended change or a goof up. What they tried to say is that it is intended, because they blue posted it. They just didn't... They like... When I saw this blue post, my initial response was like, maybe I'm overreacting. My initial take when I saw this blue post was, how dumb do you think I am? Like, do you actually expect me to believe that these were intentional? Like, do you expect me to believe that these very unique and very specific Cataclysm and SOD Phase 4 changes are showing up in Classic Era on the same day that you put Classic Era on the SOD Phase 4 and Cataclysm client? That you intended to do this? like how? And they're just like totally random. Like, how dumb do you think I am? Like, do you expect us to believe that this was intentional and that you actually thought that this was a good change? Okay. We cannot ignore this. The people that play Classic Era, these people are diehard Vanilla WoW loyalists. They are autistic. They love one specific version of the game. They love Vanilla WoW. And they just want to, there's not many of them, but they just want to play the version of the game that they like. Why do we need to poke and prod those people? Like, why just because you might not care about vanilla or you might not care about some of these things, you don't play there. You don't. I would never, say that, hey, retail WoW needs to be the way that I want it to be. I don't play retail WoW. My opinion really doesn't matter in the retail WoW discussion. I'm not saying that Cataclysm needs to be this way or that way or some other way. I don't play there. S-Fan called Era Enjoyers stupid because Classic had a bunch of changes already. It is true, over the last couple years, there have been other changes that have been made to Era. This is what I would say. Listen, everyone, take note here. This is the like intellectually honest way to tackle that conversation. If someone says, well, Classic Era players are stupid because there's already been a lot of other changes over the last couple years to Classic Era, so why start complaining now? I think what you say is, listen, when Blizzard brought up Classic Era, they promised there would be no changes, and they were also selling a service for $20, the character clone service, predicated very clearly on no changes. It is true Blizzard has made changes. They should not have done that without first consulting the community and having some sort of voting system in place. Not a single change should ever or have ever happened on these servers without first letting the community vote on them. Not a single one. Okay? That's the response. That's the response. Okay? Thank you. You say, listen, you're right. They, on Classic Era, they increased debuff limit up to 16 or like, well, I don't even remember. Chrono, well, no, Chrono Boon was not a classic era thing. Chrono Boon was a Naxxramas patch thing. Also, debuff limit was there early on. Batching, that's right. Batching is a good example. Okay, so on classic era, they wait. I'm pretty sure they changed the batch window like around Naxxramas patch also. What is an example of something on classic era that has been changed after the release, after the ranking system? That's a good example. Ranking. That's a great example. Okay. So this is, if someone gives that example, well, listen, dumb fucking classic era player, you have no right to complain about these changes right here because 2 years ago Blizzard changed the ranking system. So what about that, you dumb fucking classic era player? Here's the response. You say they shouldn't have done that without first consulting the community. You're right. They shouldn't have done that without first putting it to a vote. Whether or not it's a good change or a bad change, and I kind of think it's a good change, they should not have done it without having people vote on it. Without getting a hypermajority consensus confirming, yeah, this is something we want. They should have done it the RuneScape way. If anyone here plays old school RuneScape, I think that's the response. That's the appropriate response. Okay. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Stay safe trigger. I'm not particularly triggered. I think people are very, very quick to defend the retarded actions of a multi-billion-dollar company, right? So this multi-billion-dollar company is selling people a paid service. Hey, for $20, you can character clone your character over to Classic Era, and there will be no changes on those servers. And then people spend money. They buy that service under those stipulations. Okay, no changes. I'm going to pay money to copy my character over. And then over the following years, next couple years, guess what? There are a bunch of changes. I think it is totally normal as a customer, as someone spending money, to be annoyed by that. And this like knee-jerk, oh, well, you know, it's not a big deal. Yeah, whatever. Like, why are you so quick to defend the multi-billion-dollar company lying to its customers? I would flip it back on you. Why are you so eager to just like, hey, you don't shit talk my multi-billion-dollar company lying to its customers. You're not allowed to have that complaint. You're not allowed to be frustrated that you were lied to as a consumer. You're not allowed. Shut up. Like, I think that's the weird take. I think that's weird. A bunch of changes is dishonest. Doesn't make a difference for me. It most certainly is a bunch of changes. There are 6 that I can list right now, and there's probably more that I can't even think of right now. Your argument, your retort to what I'm saying is that a bunch is not an accurate descriptive word. Most certainly it is. There's 6 I can make a list of 6 right now, and then you say it doesn't make a difference to me. Just because it doesn't make a difference to you, listen, there's more people in this world than you. You know that, right? You're not the only person. You might, I don't know if you have like some main character. I'm the only person that matters, and I don't care about it, so it doesn't matter. Like, that's also kind of a weird take. This is a bigger picture than just you. My opinion doesn't matter, got it. No, I'm saying your opinion is not the only one that matters. Your opinion, you're not more special or more important than anyone else. Okay? Your opinion is one of many. One of many. And just because it doesn't matter to you does not mean it doesn't matter to other people. This is another thing I've seen on like, I've seen some comments about this. People that are like flexing the degree to which they don't care about anything. Like, I'm so cool. I don't care about things. You care about something? Yeah, I don't care about anything. Yeah, imagine actually caring about something. Something you care, you have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I don't care. And it's like, that's not really a flex. That's not, I don't know, like, are you, like, no, I'm not talking, Lofty, hey, once again, Lofty, I'm not talking to you now. I pivoted away from you. I said, I've seen these comments elsewhere, okay? Dude, you're still doing this main character thing. I specifically said, I've seen these comments elsewhere, and then you said, true, that's what I said. I wasn't saying you said that. You are so fucking self-absorbed, it's crazy. There's more going on here than just you. Okay? Oh my god, if you have one more schizo babble comment in my chat, I'm gonna ban you, okay? I can't deal with people like you. There's more going on here than just you. You're not the main character here, bro.